With sugar and spice and a roll of the dice, you're listening to The Dice Girls.
Hello everyone, I'm Will from Arkansas, also known as Natural 20 Leather on the Discord server. You're listening to The Dice Girls Quest. Dice Girls Discussion. Wait, table talk? Really? Okay, well, I can get it if we do enough.
So we're starting like regular. This is the hardest part, is starting this thing. I don't know why I get so nervous. It's just like...
Speaking of starting it, though, didn't one of our Discord members have a beautiful idea for the beginnings of our podcast episodes?
Yes. We were in Discord. We were talking about funny ways we could start the show. And then Mr. Sokar said... to have a bunch of just awkward hellos spliced in at the beginning. And then Nat 20 Leather Will said, what about listener hellos? Like, oh my gosh, yes, we're going to do that. So what we're doing is we're opening it up to Patreon first. And nice. This is the first recording, and this hopefully will have played at the beginning of this episode that you're listening to. I'm going to turn my microphone around so you can hear. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Hello everyone, I'm Will from Arkansas, also known as Natural 20 Leather on the Discord server. You're listening to The Dice Girls Quest. Dice Girls Discussion. Wait, table talk? Really? Okay, well, I can get it if we do enough.
Oh my god, that was so good! What?
Oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
I couldn't believe it when I heard that. It's so good. So that will
also
be what...
Discussion
would have been perfect.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, so everybody hopefully will have heard that at the beginning of this episode to start us off. So we're going to have people from all around the world, listeners, Dice Girls listeners, starting the show off.
That's so cool.
I love it.
Isn't that great?
I love that.
So one other really fun thing that happened in our Discord is I connected with Cammie from the War Dolls. She joined. Yeah, she joined us, and as soon as I saw the name The War Dolls pop up, this is really odd, but I had seen that name on Twitter long time ago, and I just thought that is the coolest name ever, The War Dolls. And just randomly, I don't know why, just randomly, The War Dolls will just pop into my head, and I'll be like, yeah, you know what I mean? And so... Yeah, and so she joined us on Discord. And so the War Dolls, I have a description here because this is something that is open for anyone to join. The War Dolls exist to provide a space for women and NB geeks of all flavors, be it video games, TTRPGs, miniature games, board games, cosplayers, the list goes on, to be able to connect with their peers without the sort of influence that can make people feel unwelcome. Whether you want to learn a new technique in your chosen hobby, discover a fandom you're into, or try out a new hobby, we have you covered, or we'll find someone to help. We promote love and acceptance for everyone because we're all doing our geeky thing for fun. And so if you want to get connected with them, the best way is through Instagram at The War Dolls.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it was super fun connecting. And then she wound up messaging me, and they have groups within the group where you can get together and talk to other people. And it's like, I think I might have friends now.
That's seriously so cool, though. I remember messaging a lot with Cammie a while back, and I'm so glad that they're in our group now. That she's in our group now? Oh, I don't know her pronouns.
She, she, her.
Okay, I'm really glad that she's in our group, in our Discord.
Yes, definitely. And she also became a patron. So,
oh my gosh.
Super excited about that.
That's so exciting.
And then we also have another new patron, Thomas. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Yeah. Did you have the Indiana update or what's going on in the Midwest?
Things are going really good out here. It's actually really nice to be back in a way that I didn't expect. The last time I was here, living, I was a lot younger. And I don't think I quite have the amount of freedom that I have now here. And so being able to just do my own thing makes it a completely different place. And I'm really just kind of falling in love with it all over again. It's really cool and really nice.
That's great.
Yeah. The only thing that the thing I was going to tell you guys is it was so funny. It was so a half an hour before the show this morning before we're recording. And I'm just I knew I needed to eat, but I'm also okay, sorry, let me take this story a little farther back. So, I came out here about a month ago, and I drove, and on my drives, if I have a long drive like that, sometimes instead of music, I'll listen to podcasts, and I'm very much a comfort show person. I would rather listen to the same podcast 800 times. If I find a good one, that's my comfort show. And so I started my comfort podcast is the Adventure Zone Balance, the Balance Arc. And so I started listening to it again when I was driving out here, and I'm just now getting to the finale because I've been binge listening while I DoorDash. And I'm listening in my earpods and I'm walking around my kitchen making lunch, knowing that I have to be here in a half an hour, and just bawling my eyes out because it's such a heart-wrenching story, and it just all culminates at once. And so I'm literally stopping in the middle of putting cheese on my sandwich to put my head down on the counter and sob. It was such a funny thought to me, the juxtaposition of me just being in this emotionally in this fan state of oh my god, this story is killing me right now, but also I have to make lunch. Okay, next step, put the sandwich in the microwave. It was just such a funny juxtaposition right before we came here to record that I had to share it.
And so you said that you listen to that show while you're door dashing. What's the average amount of time that you're able to listen before you're hitting a door? Or not hitting the door.
No, it's actually I will listen to it pretty much the whole time, because when I'm walking into a restaurant, all I have to do is say, hey, I'm here for this DoorDash. And that's a 2-second interruption. And so I'll have my earbuds in and I'll be listening while I'm in the restaurant. And then I literally 99% of the deliveries are contactless. And so I can just leave my earbud in while I walk up to their door and set the food on the ground and take the picture and knock on the door and walk away. I can pretty much binge listen the whole time I'm doing it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I really only have to stop if the other day I was at Arby's and they didn't have the type of milkshake that the guy had ordered. So I had to call him, so obviously I couldn't listen at that moment, but pretty much any other time, unless I have to interact with the customer or the restaurant employee, it's pretty solid listening through.
So then are you standing there, waiting for orders and then just laughing out loud? Doubled over laughing.
I try to bawling my eyes out while I deliver Arby's.
Right.
No, I sometimes I do giggle and laugh about it, but I have listened to it enough times that I know when the parts that are going to make me bawl my eyes out are coming up, and I don't listen while I'm door dashing to those episodes or those parts. Smart. Yeah, because I really will just be here's your McDonald's.
Right. They just catch you on their Ring camera just sobbing as you're dropping off their order.
Maybe they would add a huge tip after that. Maybe I should be bawling at their doorstep.
Hey, that's
she's having a rough day. She's having a hard time. Extra tip.
Right. Man, if dropping off my Taco Bell has this girl in tears like that, she must be having a rough one.
Oh man, that kind of reminds me of in high school. There was this I don't think it was legal. This like music streaming platform. It was called Groove Shark. It got shut down, but it was like that was where I listened to all my music. But they had these like Kevin Hart comedy specials, like the whole like hour-long comedy special on Groove Shark, and I would listen to it in class, and I was like, trying so hard not to laugh because it was so funny, and it was a struggle. I was like, this was stupid, but it's really funny, and I want to keep listening. Oh, yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
What?
You were listening to comedy podcasts in school and you're supposed to be learning?
Yeah. I wasn't a great student. I thought we established this.
That's cool. I would have been doing the same thing if that had been available.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
so I was lucky because my headphone cords were like the same color as my hair because so I could hide it, because at that point I think AirPods had just come out and they were like super expensive, and those were like the only wireless headphones on the market, and only a couple people had them. Most of us were still using like wired headphones, earbuds.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't as easy. I'm sure kids nowadays, it's super easy for them to get away with it, but back then
Yeah,
you had to work
I would
a little
imagine.
harder.
You just put
Yeah.
your hair over your ear and cover the whole headphone.
Yep.
So Ash, is your Roomba present?
What? What was the question?
Your Roomba. You remember you were gonna come up with a name
Oh.
and have googly eyes for it so we could introduce it to the crew.
I can get him, but he's actually asleep right now because I didn't
Oh,
realize
is
he wasn't
he?
plugged in properly.
Oh
So,
no. Okay.
Yeah, I checked on him this morning, and he was sitting on his dock, but he's turned off, which means that he didn't dock properly, and so it died sitting there. So he's taking a little nap.
He had a nap.
Yeah, with his little googly eyes are open though. But I mean,
Oh.
he sleeps with
Okay,
his
maybe
eyes
next
open
time
now.
we can meet him.
Yeah.
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 I'll give him a proper introduction.
Okay.
That could be your show and tell.
That could be your show and tell.
Oh yeah, there we go.
I love it.
Perfect. He'll be excited to meet everybody. He'll probably whir and like spin his little brushes.
Yes.
I do have an update. I have kind of huge news. You don't even know this,
Oh, boy.
Alexa. I've started watching anime.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are you
What are we
watching?
Okay. So
Yeah, I gotta know.
Dakota. I don't even know if I told you about Dakota. This was a whole thing. This was someone that I had connected with back when I was all over social media. And so we had messaged a lot, and at the time he was a forklift driver.
Yes, I think you did tell us about this.
Okay, so when I left social media, the one thing I was worried about was I couldn't remember where we had been talking. Like I checked all of the DMs in Twitter and Instagram and, all that stuff. Couldn't find him. And so I was so worried about going off of social media and having him think that I just forgot him and wasn't responding to him anymore, whatever. So I'd even gone into our Discord and said, I'm so bummed I can't find my forklift driver. And so they were trying to help me piece together how to find him and all that stuff. So anyway, he joined the Discord and I was so excited. It had been on Facebook Messenger is where we had been talking, which is why I couldn't find him. So anyway, yeah, Dakota's back in the fold, and I was just so relieved. And so we were talking about our favorite things to watch, and one of the things that he'd said was anime, and I said I've wanted to try it, but I don't know where to start. And so he said, I'd love to get you started on your journey. I'd like to give you some recommendations. So he recommended that I watch, it's okay, Studio Ghibli.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
okay,
I was just thinking the same thing.
there was a girl named Sophie.
Oh, Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
Ash, you've seen it?
Yes, I've seen it.
Okay. Yeah, so that was the first one that I watched.
And you watched it?
I watched it and I watched the whole thing.
Nice.
That's
And
a
I
great
was
one.
confused, but he walked me through it after, because I had messaged him and I said, "Oh, isn't it interesting that something, fill in the blank, I can't remember what I said, isn't it interesting that happens?" And then he wrote back, he goes, "LOL, yeah, that's the whole point of the story." And it just made me laugh, because it's like, oh, we just had a great time talking about it. So I watched that, and then I watched my second one. I can't remember. I should have written down the names of them, but there's a flood, and there's a guy who looks like he's in a barbershop quartet. He's got wild hair, and he's wearing like a barbershop quartet. Oh, and he's trying to get rid of humans because his ocean wife. He has his beautiful
Ponyo?
ocean wife.
Okay, Ponyo.
Yes.
Okay. I'm like,
Too, Ash.
I'm like, there's a little bit of flooding in this other one, like, yeah, both great
so
movies.
those are the two that I watched, and I was confused in both of them. He had to clear up some points for me, which is kind of wild because they're geared towards children. Those two movies, right?
Well,
Kind
yeah, they're not the most like, I feel, especially with Howl's Moving Castle, it's not the most like clear cut. It leaves it a little bit open to interpretation, but there's still kind of a I don't know, like a common thread, I guess, if that makes sense. Like I feel like with Ponyo, I think I've only watched that one once. But Ponyo feels a little more I don't know about straightforward, but the general message being like, taking care of our earth and everything. Like, I feel like that's a little more clear cut than Howl's Moving Castle, where it's like, I don't know if I don't want to like get into spoilers here. If there's anybody who hasn't watched it, it's like it's not the newest movie, but where you can kind of interpret the ending a little differently, like how things work out for Howl. I guess Howl and Sophie you can kind of interpret in sort of different ways. Like I didn't really understand Howl's Moving Castle the first time that I watched it. But I think part of it too is that like the spectacle of Ghibli movies, there's so much fun to just be watching, even if you have no idea what's going on. There's a lot of movement and like joy and fun going on that like it doesn't even matter if you don't know what's going on. It's like it's a delight to watch anyways. So that was a great place for them to start you off. I was a little worried, because
Right.
You said anime, and I was like, please tell me she didn't watch like
I know.
Death Note.
Yeah.
Right.
I was
Right.
like, no,
Yeah,
don't
like,
start
no,
with
like,
Attack
one
on
of
Titan, like,
Right. Yeah, like one of the first animes that I ever, because I don't think I've ever finished an anime, but one of the first two I did was Sword Art Online and Vampire Knight. I know Vampire Knight's a controversial one.
Oh dang!
I haven't watched either
I don't
of
think
those.
I've seen either of those.
I've heard a lot about Sword Art Online. Like that one was a big deal for a while, but
Yeah,
I don't
that's,
actually know
like,
anything
one of the
about it.
more- Yeah, that one's one of the more like beginner friendly series. I hear that one recommended a lot to like people who haven't like dipped their toes in anime before. It's pretty much like Ender's Game, like the same
Okay.
like kind of premise, you know, like VR world where
Okay.
it's been so long since I've seen it, but I don't think it starts out as like if you die in the game, you die in real life, but then it turns out to be that way or something. It's been years, but
I
that one
watched
sounds
something
pretty
that
good.
was like that. I can't remember now what it was, but I watched something like that. Back when I was
Ash,
like
do you
pirating
watch
anime.
Do you watch a lot of anime?
I guess you could say it's a lot. I don't know. I don't feel like I watch a lot, but I watch it pretty often. I guess I don't branch out that much. Maybe that's it. Like right now I'm watching Dragon Ball Super for the second time, and you know, or like I've watched Attack on Titan a few times through. I don't recommend it. Don't watch it, Kim.
Okay.
do not. And so like I was watching Attack on Titan as it was coming out, so I would go back and rewatch old seasons as a new season came out, because it's a convoluted show, I guess. We've been going through the Dragon Ball series, so I haven't like watched anything new recently, I guess, because I'm just a Dragon Ball fangirl. So and like Attack on Titan just finished, so like we haven't replaced that in our lineup yet, I guess.
Right.
I know there's other things I've watched, but now that I'm on the spot, like I can't tell you anything.
Maybe make a list next time and have just some, if you can think of like what your favorites are, something that you think I could watch. You know what I mean? Just if you have any suggestions.
Every Ghibli movie is a good suggestion. That every Ghibli movie that I've watched, I'll say that. Like there's been a couple that I haven't seen. Spirited Away, if you haven't watched that one yet, or if that one's not on your list, that's another very good Ghibli one. That one's
Okay.
That one might be my favorite. Although
Okay.
I really like Kiki's Delivery Service. Not everyone is a big fan of that one because it's different, but I love it. I actually hated it the first time I watched it, but I love it now. I didn't get it the first time I watched it, and it's not like action packed. It's very like, I mean, it's about a witch, but it's a very like normal everyday life type of setup. It's not like grand. It's not like D&D where like you've got magic flying everywhere and, you know, you're fighting dragons and stuff. It's like regular people living in a town just trying to, you know, just getting by and living their lives. And there's also a witch, like, so, but it's a very cute movie. So like Spirited Away and Kiki's Delivery Service,
Kiki's Delivery.
as
Okay,
I'll
add those
of
to
the
my
Ghibli
list.
movies. Those are my top recommendations from. I need a list in front of me to tell you other ones.
Okay.
And I don't know how you would feel about stuff like Princess Mononoke, which is another like really, really good movie, and it's another Ghibli movie, but it's much heavier than any of the other ones we've talked about
I'm
so far.
fine with heavy. In fact, I had told Dakota, I said, I think I would like something more like emotional, heavy, hard-hitting kind of stuff. And
Grave
so,
of the Fireflies.
well, he had said...
I was thinking Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, Cowboy Bebop was a good one.
That's an anime? Cowboy Bebop, did you say?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Because one thing I noticed, it's just terrible. For some reason, now that we're on the separate tracks, I don't know, but I just noticed how often I interrupt people. Like I just start talking. It's like whoever's talking is not done. Sit down. But then I also think, because I had such a hard time lining up the tracks, I think we're off just a little bit.
Right. So you're coming in like half a second earlier than you actually were. And so it just exacerbates the problem.
Yeah, it just makes me want to just stop. So go ahead with the bebop.
No, it was just the one that came to my head when you said you wanted something like more heavy.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and
I
then
think
he
you-
had. Go ahead.
Do you know what one I'm actually thinking of? It's not Cowboy Bebop. It's Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay,
Ooh.
that's what he suggested. He said Full Metal Alchemist
Ooh.
Brotherhood, and he
Yes.
told me kind of what the storyline is, but it's not available on any of the services that we have.
Right.
So I may have to.
Get a free trial or something.
Well, I mean, you can rent it. I might have to just look and
Right.
see how much it is to rent it. So you both have seen the Full Metal Alchemist?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
have no,
Yes.
you have
No,
not.
I have
Okay,
not.
so Becca and Ash have seen Full Metal Alchemist, and so he had suggested Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Is that different from just Full Metal
Ooh, I don't
Yes.
Alchemist?
Me.
I would
It
imagine.
is.
I'll raise
Yeah.
my hand.
Go ahead.
I know
yes.
this one.
Yes.
So there's two different anime. There's Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist came out first. It came out like 20 years ago. It's around 24 episodes, something like that. It diverts a bit from the original manga storyline, and so it's not a bad show by any stretch of the imagination. It's a really good show. But ever since Brotherhood was made, Brotherhood more closely follows the comics. And so Brotherhood is kind of held up as the it's the golden child. It's the favorite. It's
Okay.
longer as well. I think it's 60 something episodes, I want to say. It might be longer than
Ooh.
that. I'm thinking like 60 or 80 episodes for some reason. But it's well worth it. It's obviously, since it's much longer, it fleshes things out more.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes the story in a slightly different direction because of that. If you're gonna watch just one, I would say watch Brotherhood, because if you watch, they have the same general storyline, I guess. So like if you watch one, you'll have spoilers for the other, even though they're not quite the same thing, if that makes sense. Like the first maybe 5 or 10 episodes, like they stay along the same path, and then it divulges, it diverts into a different story a little bit. So Brotherhood is fleshes out the characters way more. It has more time to be able to do everything and cover everything.
Okay.
And I think there's even, it's been a really long time since I watched the original one. I think there's even characters cut out of that one, or like their meaningful character arcs are snipped. So I've watched Brotherhood a couple of times, and that one I 100% recommend. But yeah, that one can get a little heavy.
Okay, and I'm fine with heavy after Scarlet
I
Heart
was gonna
Rio.
say your favorite show of all time is the most soul crushing thing that I've ever seen.
Yeah. And so, it's really, really, this is incredible. I had the biggest light bulb moment while watching Ponyo. Because I was lost. I was kind of confused. I wasn't sure what was going on. And it's like, literally a child could watch that and be able to follow along perfectly. So you know how I don't like story in video games?
Yeah.
And I have a hard time because I can't process story anymore unless
Right.
it's super, super cut and dried, simple. That's why I have such a problem with it. For some reason, my brain short circuits and I have a hard time following, because like one of my favorite shows, it's like my comfort show, which is odd, but it's called Midsummer Murders. And it's this British murder mystery show where there's these little villages where there's at least 3 murders a show, and they're all, I mean, it's super, it can be corny, but it's like my comfort show. And I've watched the whole series up to a certain point many times, but I can go back and watch each episode again and still be surprised by who the murderer was.
I kind of get that. I like
You
once.
do? Okay.
Yeah, like people will make movie references to movies I've seen, and I'm like, what is that? What are you talking about? Like, I have no recollection. Once I've like watched something, a lot of the time, like, I will not be able to remember. Like, I can't tell you anything about it. I can't tell you what the storyline was the next day. You know, it's like, it's no longer important information because I'm no longer watching it. So my brain deletes it is kind of how I see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
so
that's good to know.
Yeah, that you're not alone.
No,
yeah.
I'm not. What about you,
I feel like
Becca?
I'm
When you
similar.
watch something, do you like? Is it like ingrained in your brain?
It really depends. Like, if it has been long enough, then no, I'll lose, like, it'll be like watching it almost for the first time again.
Mhm.
Or, like, I'll remember main story points, or, like, I'll remember particularly points that, like, struck me emotionally, but I couldn't tell you anything else. Like, and then especially if I wait long enough, it's just like, I don't remember even seeing this movie, but I know I've seen it.
Yeah.
So it's must be in there somewhere, but like, hello, a brand new movie.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of nice, actually, especially with like rereading books. If I just wait long
Yes.
enough, I can read that book and experience it again. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Ooh.
I'm very jealous of that ability. Like sometimes, because I usually only watch things that are attached to something that I've already like seen, that I'm already familiar with, you know, like sequels to movies. I very rarely venture out to just like watch a film, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, when I'm watching, like, those kinds of movies, I'm, like, actively trying to take in everything that I see, you know? Because it's, like, every detail's important because I'm already in love with this universe, you know? Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the details just stick with me. And so, I'm,
Oh,
like,
dang.
we could watch a movie together, and then the next day I'd be like, so what did you think? And she'd be like, I couldn't tell you a single thing about it.
Yeah.
But it was
But it
good.
was, yeah.
See,
So I
yeah.
am kind
I'll-
of jealous for the ability to, like, watch something again for the first time, because it sticks with me.
Let's wait a few years. It may happen, you know.
But I hope it doesn't.
Yeah, it's great. Like I'll remember like a general feeling that a movie gave me if I know that I've watched it, but I can't remember anything about it. So like I might see it and you know, like Adam will be like, you know, maybe we should watch this one, and I'll be like, for some reason I don't think I want to watch that one. Like I don't think I liked the ending on that one, you know, or something like that, where it's like
Yeah.
I remember this being soul crushing, but I can't tell you why it was soul crushing.
Right.
I just know. Oh, and which actually reminds me, as part of the Ghibli movies, how I said like watch anything. I realize I'm a liar. Well, because it's not a bad movie. It's just the saddest movie that you'll ever watch. Grave of the Fireflies. That one is actually a Ghibli movie, and
Okay.
I watched it when I was a teenager, and I know that I don't want to watch it again.
Oh,
Yeah, that one.
It's a very,
tell me,
very
though.
sad movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
seen it, but I've seen everybody who's talked about it is like, that is a one and done type of a movie. Like,
It's
You
a
see it
very,
once.
very sad movie. Yes.
you have it, and that's like one that'll stick with you for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Kind of a deal.
No,
Yeah,
I
okay,
want to
so
see it.
I'll put that on my
That
list.
makes me want to see it.
It does make
I
me
mean,
wanna see.
Do you want me to tell you what little I can?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's not like
I wanna go in
details or
blind.
anything. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went in blind, and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, you're kind of. Can I say this on the Dice Girls? You're screwed either way. Like, it doesn't matter how much you know ahead of time. Like, you're gonna be sad
Right.
when you watch
Yeah.
that movie. So,
That's fair.
And we
So I'd rather
have
be
to
completely
consider ourselves
blindsided.
warned.
yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
Kim?
I said we have to just consider ourselves warned.
Right,
We've
yeah.
been warned.
Yeah.
Grab the tissues.
Yeah.
Like that one's the hardest one to watch.
Okay.
And that's like another level.
Do
Like
you-
when I'm talking heavy, that's on its own pedestal.
Okay, so if
Have
if you could go back to that point where you're gonna get ready to watch it and not watch it, would you not watch it so you wouldn't have ever seen it?
No. It's a good movie.
Okay. Okay.
It's just bring your tissues, take lots of breaks, like pet a
Be gentle
dog,
with yourself.
like it's just like
dog. I'll bring my teddy bear.
it's
for sure.
rough. It's rough. It's rough. That's all. It's rough.
Okay.
Speaking on what Kim said, is there a movie for you guys that you would like unwatch? Like go back and unwatch it, not because you want to see it again, but just because you wish you would not have watched it.
So for me, I never watch a movie and I'm like, I did not like that, you know, because usually I can turn my brain off. I can turn off like my suspense of what's it called?
Disbelief.
Disbelief.
Disbelief. Yes, I can completely turn that off most of the time. So I very rarely am watching a movie and I'm like, I don't like this. But there was one movie that I actively say that I hate, and that was San Andreas with The Rock, where we saw it in the theaters. I don't know why. Why did we go see it in the
I
theaters?
don't remember.
But it was so horrible. It's like the San Andreas fault line. Like the big earthquake happens, and you know, like California is like decimated, and The Rock is trying to him and his ex-wife have to like go and get their kids out of the middle of the city
Yes.
to rescue them. But so you know, him and his ex-wife, they're reconnecting along the way, you know, and kind of falling back in love. But and then there's this one scene where that was it for me. It was him and his ex-wife were in this like little twin engine plane getting ready to fly off and save their kids, and they're sitting there having a heart-to-heart while their children are like actively in mortal peril. And they're taking their sweet time getting this plane in the air, and it's like your daughter is literally about to drown and you're sitting there
Like having your marriage
trying to
counseling
rekindle
session.
your relationship. Yeah, trying to rekindle your relationship. That is the only movie that I've ever walked out of and being like, I actively hated that. Like, I would unwatch that one if I could.
Yeah,
That was-
because it was
Nice.
like when they're sitting there chit chatting, and I'm thinking, if that was my kids, I would not be able to hold a conversation with anybody.
No.
I don't care if it's
Yeah.
The Rock. I would not be.
Right.
It just would be a mess.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it would be like laser focus.
Yeah.
That one's an experience.
That's a
If
good
you
answer.
haven't seen
I
it,
like
you
that.
might want to go watch it just for the giggles.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Nice. Just so you can wish that you unwatched it.
Yeah. And Becca, what would yours be? Is there a movie you would unwatch?
There is absolutely a movie I would unwatch.
What?
And yes, it was so I guess I have to preface it by saying I watched 2 movies in the span of a weekend, not knowing what either one of them was about, really. And the first one was The Mist by Stephen King. And if you haven't seen that, it just has a super bleak ending, like heavy, dark, just the worst ending. And I'm feeling just like it was one of those movies that left me just feeling like emotionally drained. And so that was The
Okay.
Mist, which I really actually liked. And then the next movie that I watched after that is The Road. And I don't know if any of you have ever seen it. Please do not.
I've read
It
the
is
book.
like-
Isn't
think
it
so.
Cormac McCarthy's book, The Son,
I think
Father
so.
and Son?
Yes, and it's the most depressing thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was the bleakest movie, and like I I'm never watching movies that start with the and have 2 words in them again. Yeah, back to back, The Mist and The Road, and it was the most depressing experience of my life. Not truly the most depressing, but I really wish I could unwatch The Road. It was just, it felt like bleakness for the sake of bleakness. There was no,
Right.
I don't know. It didn't have a greater purpose. It was just gut punch after 1-2 punch. I couldn't take it. I would unwatch that movie. What about you guys? What about you, Kim, Ash? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you watch those back to back? So
Yes.
like a Bleak movie marathon?
Yeah, it wasn't on purpose. My boyfriend at the time was suggesting these movies, and so I just went along with it. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
No, not again.
Those are definitely not movies for our rainbow sparkle sunshine Becca. That was...
No, and honestly, I love the media that rips me to shreds. Me sobbing in the kitchen while making a sandwich. I think that's amazing to me. I love that. Yes, please make me feel emotions, but not that one. That emotion was just oh. I don't want to feel that one.
Right.
It's a really sad, really just bleak, terrible movie.
So then did he see your reaction to The Mist and was like, I know what she'll like more than this movie?
That's a great question. I have no idea what was going through his head at that time. He didn't know me, clearly.
Clueless.
Right.
Yeah, never again. So I don't watch The Road.
Okay.
I don't think I have one that I would unwatch. Like I said, I forget movies after I watch them, so
that works.
I've effectively already unwatched everything that I've already watched.